while we look at Pakistan and many developing countries along the line, many in the African countries and many in the South Asia, including Pakistan, Pakistan is facing acute hunger. Right? And we see as of now, when you talk about how we have we have reached to this position, is we need to look back to our history, that how this overall trajectory has been taken overall in the world, and particularly in Pakistan, that we face hunger and food security at the moment. Now, let me take you back to some of the statistics that is coming while we look at the history. Now, there were different eras in the post Cold era, and then when we had certain financial crises, the 2008 7-8 crisis that has deepened the overall economic system worldwide. Now that needs, we as an academic, as practitioners or as scholars, we need to look into the basics of this hunger. We cannot just rely on that the current discourse on food security is very much needs to be taken very much deeply into the structures of the economy that we are pursuing. There's a lot of structural issues in countries like Pakistan, where people, despite having a lot of food being produced, there is a lot of population who are disproportionately impacted by this Absolutely. Overall food crisis.
Great. That's right. Very right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that we have seen just recently, after the world experienced the COVID crisis, how the developing countries like Pakistan were at the verge of collapse, if I can say it in its truest sense, that how we were being left to our own, that how the government is going to mobilize resources for the people so that they can be able to bring food to the table. And when you talk of how and what the government is doing, we've seen that during COVID crisis, that the government of Pakistan was able enough to mobilize resources for its people, for the vulnerable people of Pakistan, through its social protection program, which is basically the Benazir Income Support Program, and obviously with the support of its partner organizations like World Bank, like other world agencies who contributed significantly to the efforts of government of Pakistan in order to deal with the kind of
we will be coming, that. Yeah. So we will be coming to that later. From the security point of view, another way of looking at the food crisis is considering food insecurity a non-traditional security threat. The connection between food insecurity and traditional national security in terms of its impact on the performance of soldiers and warriors with their meager salaries and limited purchasing power. This is something which is also being highlighted by food emergency experts. Do you think our current food security situation, it poses an additional security threat to Pakistan during these trying times of rising militant attacks?
Yes, obviously, because when we look at the issue of food security, there are two schools of thoughts who talk on the issue of food security, that how poverty has particularly impacted the overall crisis in countries like Pakistan. So if there are not, people are not able to purchase food, their purchasing power is very limited in order to purchase the basic food that they need, then obviously there's curtailment of other economic activities for them. So how it impacts the overall crisis in countries like Pakistan is very much, because Pakistan, as we talk of today, the security, even in today's Pakistan, the narrative of security has been broadened, as I may refer to the National Security Policy document that came out in 2021, that when we talk of security in Pakistan, the government has rightly redirected the focus of policymakers that you cannot talk of security in pure traditional security sense, like militarily, having the strengths in terms of militarily, but you need to broaden the concept by focusing on other non-traditional security challenges or threats, which ultimately have greater impact on the overall security situation of Pakistan. And that's what we saw in the national security policy, that document that is very much kind of a blueprint for the country, for the government in Pakistan, that how we should focus more on human security, more on economic security. These two were being considered as the pillars of the overall security dynamics in countries like Pakistan, that you cannot achieve the overall comprehensive security without securing the lives of the ordinary people, making them able to have their life with dignity, with grace, with prosperity. It is entirely impossible. Now that needs to be questioned, and people are criticizing that how it is to be operationalized, how resources are needed to be brought to make it more comprehensive, is I think a $1 million question at the moment that you see Pakistan is facing at the moment.
I'm sorry to cut you short.